Greetings, this is Iman, founder of GI Apparel, and I come before you again with another sharp word. And today's topic is called hope. And I want to start off by saying I hope this message blesses you. You know, we hear a lot about faith and love, but what about hope? Hope is so underrated. The Bible says abide in faith, hope, and love. 1 Corinthians 13:13. And although love is the greatest and faith is necessary, let us not forget about hope. Hope is the feeling that what is wanted can be had or that events will turn out for the best. It is a sense of optimism in situations or circumstances. You know, hope is an attitude of optimism. People that are optimistic or positive thinkers, they tend to look at a positive outcome in every situation. Hope keeps us from falling into despair, discouragement, and depression. And the opposite of being optimistic is pessimistic. Pessimistic is a mental attitude in which an undesirable outcome is anticipated. It is a sense of hopelessness, an extremely negative, gloomy attitude, joyless and hopeless. So although the writer in 1 Corinthians 13 is defining love, faith and hope are inseparable. Faith will be our assurance, our foundation, if you will. But hope will be our attitude. And then love is an action. When one has love, they have hope as well. 1 Corinthians 13:7 says, love hopes all things. And when one has faith, hope is also included. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. In both love and faith, there is hope. Remember, faith is our foundation. It is what God said, but hope is our attitude behind what God says. But we must be careful just having hope. Proverbs 13:12 says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. For example, you can hope to win the lottery, but you need to still go to work. A lot of us have hope and not faith. You cannot have one without the other. Hope without faith is invalid. Now, in spiritual warfare, God has provided armor that we must put on for combat. In Ephesians chapter 6 is a list of them. One of the pieces of armor is the helmet of salvation, Ephesians 6:17. This part of our armor protects our head from being wounded. It protects our mind from being struck with depression, despair, and discouragement, which leads to hopelessness. This helmet can also be referred to as the helmet of hope. 1 Thessalonians 5:8 says, putting on as a helmet the hope of salvation. The enemy targets the mind. The mind is where the battle really goes on. Once you get your mind right, you need protection for it to stay right. So God provides that protection with the helmet of hope. You see, when our minds are unprotected, we leave ourselves open to stress, worry, anxiety, which can lead to depression. Proverbs 12:25 says, anxiety in the heart of a man causes depression. And I've come across so many people, especially young people, wanting to kill themselves, attempting suicide because of depression. May the Lord have mercy. But hope is that inner quiet attitude that says it's all going to work out. You're able to hope and wait quietly on the Lord to deliver you. Lamentations 3:26. No matter what it looks like, hope says all things work together for good. Romans 8:28. When we are going through tough times, trials, and tribulations, it is a suitable time to let God produce in us certain traits, such as perseverance, character, and even hope. The Bible says in Romans 5:5, hope does not disappoint. A lot of people suffer from disappointment because they have lost hope or never had it to begin with. But God has a plan for you. In Jeremiah 29:11, God says, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. The NIV translation says hope and a future. And many of you have lost hope for the future, and your past has been a disappointment, and your present seems hopeless. But God says he has a future hope for you. We need to start thinking the way God thinks, having hope for the future. Yes, this world is corrupt And folk are crazy. We are living in perilous times. It doesn't look good right now, but there is still hope for the future. One thing to look forward to is that Jesus is coming back, and those who have this hope in his coming should purify themselves. 1 John 3:3 says, everyone who has this hope purifies himself. Make sure your heart is pure that you may be prepared for his return. Now, besides putting on the helmet of salvation, I want to mention Psalms 42, which is an antidepressant psalm for those that are depressed. The writer in Psalms 42 was down and out. He was grieved and depressed. Even his soul was restless. And I want to encourage you to hope in God. As the writer says in Psalms 42:5, God sees your tears. He knows your disappointments. He understands your grief, but hope in God. He would not disappoint you. So I just pray and hope that this word has blessed you. And until the next message, may God be with you.